What's up guys, Asian here again with another theory crafting video, and today we're going to be discussing one very specific set that a lot of endgame guilds have been running on their off tanks and some people have some questions about. And that set is going to be Powerful Assault. Now, Nephis has already done a video on how Powerful Assault works. I have that link down in the description below, so if you guys are interested in how specifically Powerful Assault works, then I highly recommend you check out that video. He does a pretty good job at exploring whether Powerful Assault can hit more than 4 people, how people are prioritized when you're getting the buff, and things like that. So I highly recommend checking that out, and then returning here for this video. So the question that I'm going to answer is not the same thing as what Nephis decided to explore. My question that actually came from a viewer is whether or not Powerful Assault makes sense to basically be put on a stamina DPS compared to an off tank. Now, Nephis and a lot of endgame tanks, myself included, prefer to put Powerful Assault on an off tank, mainly because the off tank has a little bit more freedom as to where they can move. They also have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what sets to put on. And so basically one of the questions that kind of rose up was, well, sure, you can put it on an off tank and it's fine to run on an off tank, but what about putting it on a stamina DPS instead? So I looked over Nephis's videos and basically worked out how Powerful Assault works. Basically, it is applied to the 4 people with the highest stamina pools within 10 meters of you. The closest people are probably prioritized first. There's still a little bit of muddiness there in terms of determining who actually gets the proc or not, but that's a general idea. So the concept behind putting it on a stamina DPS is you will always get the Powerful Assault buff, and then you are typically going to be next to your other stamina DPS partners, so you will always be able to give them to your stamina DPS. Now, that is a pretty good argument, but the same thing can be said with off tanks. Off tanks, like I said, have more flexibility where it comes to where they're positioned, obviously depending on the fight. So they can actually move around and basically, I don't want to say spam vigor, but they can use strategic use of vigor to basically apply Powerful Assault to multiple people. So Powerful Assault can be applied to more than 4 people at a time. It just requires the person to move around a little bit. So that's one of the main reasons why you prefer to put it on an off tank compared to a stamina DPS. It's just that additional flexibility as to, okay, I can move here and here and basically guarantee that I can apply it to all of my DPS versus putting it on a stamina DPS where you might not necessarily get that same flexibility. Nonetheless, it is still a pretty good kind of question to explore as to whether it is a good idea or even viable to put Powerful Assault on a stamina DPS. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shift gears a little bit and point us towards the ability metric spreadsheet that I have basically come to really rely on. So if we go ahead and swap over. Alright, so this is the spreadsheet here that we're all at this point very used to seeing. So I basically put in 3 different scenarios. So the first scenario that I have here is that we have Powerful Assault on. Now we are keeping our caltrops on our back bar. So caltrops is what we're going to be using to proc Powerful Assault. So this is basically assuming that we keep caltrops on our back bar, we keep our front bar exactly the same. So we're not changing our bars at all. So in that case, Powerful Assault has to be on the body, and then we are running Advancing Okada as our front bar set. So we have our building metrics here. The second comparison is your typical standard Relequen plus Advancing Okada setup on a Nightblade. Pretty self-explanatory. Now the third comparison that I want to take a look at is the exact same thing as the second set, which is basically Relequen and Advancing Okada on a Nightblade, but this time we're assuming that they have the Powerful Assault buff. Now, the rationale behind all this is we compare the Powerful Assault with without running Relequen. We take a look at the meta setup of Relequen and Advancing Okada, and then we basically take a look at the DPS difference here, basically how much ability metric we're losing as a percentage basis. And then we take a look at this third combination, which is Relequen plus Advancing Okada plus Powerful Assault buff, and we see how much of a difference that is compared to without the Powerful Assault buff. Basically the idea is we take a look at the DPS that we gain by buffing 3 other people compared to the DPS loss that we get from basically giving up Relequen. So onto our the comparison numbers here. So again, this is Powerful Assault instead of Relequen. This is your typical Relequen Advancing Okada, and this is Relequen Advancing Okada with the Powerful Assault buff. So we don't really care about this one too much. We're more concerned about this. So just basing off of ability metric. So this is not really, again, a one-to-one comparison to DPS, but it gives you an idea of about how much we can be expecting to lose here. So if we're using Powerful Assault instead of Relequen, we're looking at just shy of a 3% difference in our ability metric. Trade-off is we are giving 3 other people an additional 3% onto their ability metric here. So basically, in terms of percentage difference, you're looking at about 9%, a little bit greater than 9% increase in overall ability metric between 4 people. Compare that, however, to an off-tank. So the off-tank, if they're pretty savvy about how they're applying Powerful Assault, can actually get the full 12%. They can hit 4 stamina DPS that way. So you're basically trading off about 3% or so in the ability metric. Again, this is ability metric, not DPS. If you put Powerful Assault on a stamina DPS rather than the off tank, the off tank is still going to be superior overall. That being said, though, Powerful Assault on a stamina DPS at this point doesn't seem like that bad of an idea. Now I'm going to shift over now to ESL and show you guys the comp metrics report that I have gotten from a couple of different tests here. So this is, again, the first pretty much standard Relequen advanced indicators. These are solo parses, so just bear that in mind. This is not going to be necessarily representative of in-raid scenarios, but it gives us a kind of point of comparison that we can take a look at. So again, this is your standard Relequen plus advanced Neokata. Now I did decide to put caltrops on the front bar and then basically put expert hunter on the back bar. And so this is this parse here. So this is Relequen with Powerful Assault on our front bar. And we see we got 49.4k compared to our Relequen plus advanced Neokata, which is 53.3k. So we're looking at a drop of about 4k or so. And this is, again, a solo parse. So again, compared to raid parses, this is not necessarily going to be one-to-one, but you can sort of get an idea here. So 4% drop is 4k drop is pretty noticeable in terms of personal DPS. Now obviously I was not able to test out Relequen plus advanced Neokata with this Powerful Assault buff. Nobody was online that was able to kind of coerce into helping me out here, but we can see that it is going to be pretty nice to have. So if we think of it basically as DPS loss versus DPS gain, obviously Powerful Assault is still going to be better on an off tank because you're able to apply it to 4 DPS compared to without really losing any DPS at all, because you're a tank, you don't really care about your DPS anyways. But putting it on a stamina DPS, you're looking at about probably 4 to 5k decrease in your personal DPS in order to give other people an additional Powerful Assault buff. So overall, it's still going to be useful, but in general, you're probably going to be better off running something like War Machine instead. That will affect 3 people with Major Slayer, which is going to be a little bit stronger than Powerful Assault because damage done modifiers are going to be a little bit stronger compared to just straight up weapon damage modifiers. Plus, you're basically able to give pretty good uptime on that Major Slayer buff with 2 people running War Machine. So yes, you can put Powerful Assault on a stamina DPS. It's not necessarily a bad idea. But it is going to be a little bit more effective to put it on an off tank, and you're better off running War Machine instead of Powerful Assault if you're looking for a group buff set instead. That being said, again, Powerful Assaults can be put on a stamina DPS. It's just, again, more efficient to put it on an off tank instead. So that answers that question of whether Powerful Assault is going to be better, is useful on a stamina DPS compared to an off tank. So hopefully you guys found this video informative. Again, I'll have a link down in the description below to Navis's video basically exploring Powerful Assault, how it's applied, all the nuances onto how it procs and things like that. So I highly recommend checking that out so you guys get a better idea of how Powerful Assault works. Hopefully you guys found this video informative, and I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.